Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'm Tim Damon with the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce, and would like to welcome and thank you for joining us for today's Launch Michigan announcement. We're certainly pleased to be here at the Impression 5 Science Center, and I think perhaps probably no better place in the city of Lansing to host today's program from a learning aspect and creativity and educational opportunities, and truly one of our region's top educational assets right here at Impression 5. I do want to thank Eric Larson. I know Eric, there he is back here. I'm talking to Eric. Him and his team were here very late last night hosting some after hours All-Star Game festivities here and turned this around very quickly to get us started here this morning. So Eric, thank you for your leadership and hosting us here this morning as well. Appreciate that. I'd also like to highlight some of the innovative collaborations that are taking place between the Lansing School District and the Impression 5 Science Center as well, and would like to thank Lansing School Superintendent Yvonne Kamal-Knull for her leadership as well as sort of vision and kind of helping enhance the educational opportunities and learning experiences for the Lansing students as well. So thank you, Yvonne. So the education and talent is one of the top priorities for the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we continually hear from employers in our region on their ability or inability to attract the talent and educated and skilled workforce that's necessary for them to continue their economic growth. And so Launch Michigan is a perfect illustration for this collaboration that's necessary to address one of the state's most pressing issues, and that is K-12 education. So from our capital city here in Lansing all the way to the Upper Peninsula, this issue has a significant impact on the ability for our state to continue that prosperity into the future. We certainly believe that every student should have the diverse skill sets that prepare them for success in life, career, and his or her post-K-12 education as well. And that's why we're here today, and that's what Launch Michigan is all about. So I would like to recognize the several partners and support from several other regional chambers across the state as well, and that includes the Detroit Regional Chamber, the Grand Rapids Area Chamber, and the Traverse City Area Chamber too. So thank you for your continued support and partnership for Launch Michigan. And I'm now pleased to introduce Doug Rothwell, President and CEO of Business Leaders for Michigan, and Paula Herbart, President of Michigan Education Association.
Thanks, Tim. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Tim, for that great introduction. And I can tell you that I'm very honored to be here today at what we think is going to be a transformational moment in public education's history here in the state, because really never before have we seen such a diverse group of organizations and partners come together to improve public education. We represent a very broad spectrum of business, education, philanthropy, community leadership, state leadership, and we're united behind one goal, which is to make sure that we have the best public education system in America so that our kids can succeed not only in their careers but also in life. We're aligned behind this strong desire to see that the public education system is, and we recognize it is, the cornerstone of every child's ability to succeed and, frankly, to create an economy that works for everyone in this state. The reality is today Michigan faces a talent shortage. We're creating jobs faster than we're able to develop the talent to fill them, and this problem is only going to grow worse because as too many of our kids are graduating without the skills they need to be successful. Make no mistake about it, Michigan businesses want to hire Michigan students to fill Michigan jobs. We don't want to look outside our borders, but we simply aren't developing enough of the well-educated, skilled, and qualified talent we need to fill the jobs that are being created today, let alone tomorrow. And our failure to address this situation not only hurts the businesses that are involved, it also hurts the communities, and most importantly, it hurts our kids. So we believe that everyone needs to be part of the solution. If you follow our work, you know that it's based on research and data, and when we study what other states and best practices are doing out there, we know that the places that are getting this right have worked together to get it right. They follow a strategy. They're committed to the long haul. Their work supersedes politics and election cycles, and that's what we plan to do right here. There's already some good work going on in Michigan in education. Early childhood education, literacy efforts. Our work is designed to complement those efforts, not duplicate it. And we have the support of some key advocates that are here today, like Phil Power and the Center for Michigan, and Rob Collier from the Council of Michigan Foundations to help our work. And we appreciate Rob and Phil, the work that you and the support you give to us. The good news is we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We know what works, we know what's successful, we know what the research says, what other states have done. That's why we're excited about this unprecedented collaboration that's here today and look forward to working with all of these leaders to make Michigan a top 10 education state. At this point, I want to turn the microphone over to Paula Herbart of the MEA, a partner with us in this great effort. Paula?
Thank you. The Michigan Education Association, along with our sisters and brothers with the AFT Michigan, under their leadership and president of David Hecker, represents school employees in every county of this state. Teachers, support staff of the schools, higher education faculty and staff, retiree, and even aspiring educators who attend teacher prep programs at Michigan colleges and universities. All these individuals make a profound difference every day in Michigan students' lives. They are the heart and soul of Michigan's education system, dedicated professionals who go into the profession to make a difference and help kids learn and succeed. For years, MEA has echoed the voices of Michigan educators who have said, "Ask me." Ask me to policymakers who are making decisions about what's necessary for students and schools to be successful. This group is asking. They're asking that same question. And we're proud to be a part of this effort to help frontline educators who are experts at teaching and learning provide answers and inform this partnership about what's needed to help every student learn regardless of the zip code that they live in. Education is not and should never be a partisan issue. We're committed to working together with these diverse partners to develop solutions that will work for our state, for our students, everywhere across Michigan. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Wanda Cook Robinson and Rob Fowler. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob, I think you're going to have to fix this for me. See, we're working together. I'm so pleased to have this opportunity to stand with my many partners here today, including Skillman, Mott, and Kellogg Foundation, who were crucial to helping the School Research Finance Collaborative get off the ground, as well as our statewide educational associations, the Michigan League for Public Policy, and others. And we're all together as we take this step forward to improve the educational environment for all children attending school in the state of Michigan. As my school and teaching colleague, Paula, has noted, educators go into this field for one reason and one reason only, to help kids and to be part of helping them to grow and to learn. Our very mission is the continued improvement of public education in Michigan. Now, we know from the research that one size does not fit all. The cost to educate students varies considerably. Now, this is based on specific background and needs, and the results in the cost structure are unique to each state. Factors such as the demographics, the overhead structure, facility costs, cost of living, legacy costs like pension, the number of students requiring special education, transportation considerations, and free and reduced lunch programs, among others, must be assessed and considered as we move forward thinking about that cost. But we also know that it will take all of us, not only those standing here, but those in the audience and our colleagues out in the field, to improve this educational system in Michigan. And we're excited to roll up our sleeves and to be a part. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Rob Fowler, the Small Business Association of Michigan.
Thank you, Wanda. I appreciate that. The Small Business Association of Michigan is proud to be a part of this effort. We represent about 26,000 businesses from all across the state. It's often said that small business is the engine of the economy. Let me put a little bit of context to that. 51% of the private sector jobs in Michigan are held by small businesses with fewer than 500 employees. 2/3 of all the net new jobs created are created by small business. And recently, we've been focused on a group we call second stage companies, those with 10 to 99 employees, 1 to 50 million in sales, with the intent and capacity to grow. And those companies generate about 40% of all the net new jobs. And what they really have in common is that they are entrepreneurial and innovative and creative. And that is really a part of Michigan's history. 100 years ago, people like Dow and Kellogg and Weggy and Gerber and Olds and Ford were those very same entrepreneurs and educators. But what we know is the fuel for that kind of entrepreneurial activity is an educated workforce. So over the last 2 years, I've spent, our organization has hosted meetings across the state to meet with our members with small businesses. We've called them Engage meetings. I've met with hundreds of small businesses, and we always ask the same question, and that question is, what is keeping you up at night? And the universal answer has been talent. I've been interested to watch it kind of evolve. It was in some places and some industries, and today it is all places and all types of businesses. It has evolved from finding and keeping talent to affording talent, to benefits, to other things, all of which speaks well for the Michigan economy, but it's a very serious challenge for small businesses. So talent is the issue, and I would say from our perspective, we've really divided the issue of talent and education by time. From our perspective, talent is something that is necessary now. And it's not just our education system or those coming out of our education system. Pardon me, it involves our workforce development systems and others, but education really is the long game. And that's really what we're about here today, is the long-term implications. So first thing I would say is this collaboration is focused on the long term. We know that we have to develop a strategy and a plan that survives the next change of administration. We are not creating this for the next governor or even the one after that. We're creating it for a very long-term policy agenda. What we know is these stakeholders are going to be here when the next round of elected officials are gone, and we know that we're going to be here in the long term. The second thing I would say is a subtle but important distinction is not completely unheard of for this group of people to come together. The Governor's 21st Century Education Commission would be an example. The Cherry Commission in years past would have been an example. But what's important here is that we have convened ourselves. We have not been asked to come to the table by a third party. We've convened ourselves to look at the long term for this issue. So really our message is business and labor, education and community, philanthropy, all coming together because we know that we're better together in this effort. Now let me turn it over to Amber Arellano, President and CEO of Education Trust Midwest, and Derek Shinska, the DEC Young Leader.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you, Rob, for the introduction. Many of you know that our organization has been working across on both sides of the aisle to advance an equity and excellence agenda for all kids across our country and in Michigan for the last 25 years. And over the last several years in particular, we've been really studying and lifting up the work of what leading education states such as Massachusetts and Tennessee have done to become top 10 education states. And one of the things that they've done is that they've really, there have been long-term movements and collaboration and partnerships just like this one that bring leaders and organizations from across sectors to kind of tackle some of the most pressing and difficult issues in their P16 education systems. And that's why I'm so excited about today and the announcement of this partnership. We're excited about going deeper with our partners here today and the many people that are coming to the table to be part of this effort. I'm also really excited because there's a real interest in exploring together with the leaders here today on going deeper around building the support systems, the capacity building system for educators and principals in particular. For several years, our organization has lifted up the importance of educators and their voices in classrooms. We know that among all of the many variables that affect student achievement in kids' lives, we know that among the in-school factors, when you think about what affects student achievement, the in-school factors, the quality of the teaching in the classroom is one of the most important predictors of student achievement. And yet, as a state, we've really neglected to invest in this kind of support systems that educators need. And I started my career as a teacher, and I saw that and felt that firsthand. So I'm really excited about the interest in exploring what that work could look like in the coming years. I also want to thank our philanthropic partners in this work, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, the Skillman Foundation, Tanya, thank you, the Consumers Energy Foundation, in particular the Council of Michigan Foundations, Rob, Debbie, others that have been so terrific in getting this partnership going. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I come here to represent the Detroit Economic Club. I am the chair of the Young Leader Board. And so what the young leaders have come together over the past several years is to represent 1,200 young professionals in Southeast Michigan. And we come to this partnership from a bit of a different perspective, because when we were formed originally, our main goal was to try and keep the young talent that we have here in the state that we're losing over the past decade. We've made a lot of progress on that front, but we need to take a next step, and we have taken next steps to help maintain those families that are now there. Because as you might imagine, many of our young leaders have families of their own, and they want to make sure that their children receive the best education. So on that front, what we did as an organization 3 years ago is start what we call our Career Readiness Academy. So what our Career Readiness Academy has done is it helps students figure out, all right, what career skills do I need to enter whatever choice of employment that I make, as well as figure out, all right, what is the best employment form for me, everything from the trades to the doctor. We want to try and help them figure out what's best for them. This program has grown from the start from 10 schools. We are now at 24 schools with 350 students that were serviced this year and 100 young leader volunteers. So we all realize the importance of education. I'm very happy to be a part of this collaborative, and we're really, really excited to be brought to the table on this because we have a passionate group of leaders that want to contribute as much as we can. And as we all know, times are changing really, really quickly, and the students of today are facing challenges that we never faced. With technology advancing, they're going to have to learn, unlearn, and relearn many skills throughout the course of their career to remain competitive in the marketplace. It's imperative that we create a model that allows for this and helps them maintain a lifelong education. So we're here to give all of our talents as a group and contribute and help keep our families and members in the area. And we're really excited to be a part of the group and look forward to what's to come. So with that, I'm handing it off to Tanya Allen, who is no stranger to collaboration herself.
So I am so excited and privileged to be here today. It's so awesome to be standing with these men and women who have decided that children are going to come first in our state. And that deserves an applause, even if I have to tell you to give it, right? So let me just tell you this. This is a broad, the breadth and the magnitude of this coalition is so impressive. And it reminds me of a great philosopher, my grandmother, Frances Page, who always said that none of us are smarter than all of us. So we all are coming together and bringing our brain power and our heart power to make a change for Detroit, for Detroit's children, for Grand Rapids children, for Traverse City's children, for Lansing's children, for the state of Michigan's children. And I'm so excited about that. I'm particularly excited because, as you all know, our state has made great recovery, a great recovery. We see lots of things that are going well in our state, but we know that what's happening in our state is not going to be resilient, nor will it be durable if we don't ask this question constant and often. How are the children? And this is a moment for us to ask ourselves, how are we doing for children and by children with our educational system? And when we look at that question, we know that we are not doing as well as we possibly can for children. And this gives us an opportunity to do it, where the opportunity is grounded in a coalition of people across the board, from business to philanthropy to community, and most importantly, our educators who bring passion for our children. Like others, I want to thank all of those who have been collaborators with us in this great effort. I want to thank the leadership of Business Leaders of Michigan. the Council of Foundations, Michigan Nonprofit Association, the many nonprofits and leaders throughout our community who are serving children, as well as other philanthropic partners who have contributed, including the Kellogg, Mott, and Kresge Foundations. So on behalf of the Skillman Foundation and also on behalf of a mother who has children in Michigan schools, thank you. And I'd like to bring our leader, one of our leaders, back up, Doug Rothwell. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Tanya. Well, you've heard a lot here this morning from a very diverse group of individuals. I want to sum up, I think, what we hope that you're going to walk away with. One is that this is a critical moment in Michigan's history. This is a very, very diverse group of leaders. I'm not sure that I can remember a time when we had such a diverse group of leaders get together like this. And they're united for several things. Like Tanya said, we're united to put our kids first. We're united to get stronger results. We're united to eliminate the talent shortage that we face in this state. We want to make Michigan a top 10 state for education. And we want to advance this work through election cycles and not be subject to whoever's in office what the plan and the policy is. And we want to do it with a sense of urgency. We are not going to develop another comprehensive plan. What we are going to do is we are going to focus on some of the good work that's already going on today and support it, but mainly try to focus our efforts on identifying a series of issues that we feel will make the greatest impact on improving student outcomes and develop specific action plans to advance that work based on research and based on facts. We're going to start with 3 or 4 issues because we know, first of all, that teaching is so important. We're going to start with teacher development. Second, we're going to focus on developing an accountability system for the entire system, not just for teachers and students. And third, we're going to also focus on raising public awareness because this is all of our issue, not just some of our issue in terms of the need and the importance and the student gaps that we're facing in this state. And that's just a start. That's just a start. This work, we're going to try to get as much done as we can by November, but whatever we get done, we're going to keep working beyond November on additional issues. And we want to leave a message for those that are running for elected office to take note of this effort and this group. And we want to ask them to keep enough of an open mind on the positions that they're taking so that they can embrace, hopefully, the recommendations that come out of this process. So we look forward to the work ahead. It's a big task, but we believe that this is possibly one of the best ways we could help our students, every school in our state. And now what I'd like to do is just open it up for questions from any of you that have them. Yes, go ahead.
One of the things that some of these other succeeding states have done is spend more money, which means raising taxes. Where are you getting that?
Well, what we're first of all looking at is how are we spending the money that we have today? We will look at the funding system and how well it works, but priority number one is to try to address these issues that I talked about, such as teacher development, by better utilizing the resources that we currently have. Other questions?
Steve Carmody with Michigan Radio, right in front of the big light right in front of you.
There you are, okay. I'm blinded by your halo.
Hopefully I still have a halo after I ask the question. This is a diverse group, yes, but this is a group that has also been at odds over raising taxes for schools, schools being more open for profit, schools or for-profit operators. How does this coalition work beyond today's announcement? Because you're all going to face things that you don't want that the other side wants.
Anybody want to take a shot?
Does anyone even want to face that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think we start.
Amber, come up to the
mic,
mic,
please.
Amber.
I mean, certainly, we all know that we're living in a divided time in our state and our country, but I think we all have worked together before, and we also know there are a lot of issues that we do agree upon. We know that educators are critical. We know that we need more transparency with our data systems. We need to give parents a better idea and a more honest idea on how their schools are performing. We know that we need consistent standards. We know that we need a consistent system of public reporting and accountability. So that might not sound like a lot, but that's actually an awful lot. We're tackling a pretty ambitious agenda to start, and then we're going to keep exploring from there. And I think you're raising really important questions, and we'll get to some of those things eventually, and we'll be exploring those things and doing research. But there's a lot we agree on, and we can be working on those things, and that's what we're committed to doing.
Kevin Lavery with WKAR Public Radio.
I'm going to
Yep.
add to that.
Yep.
You know, that's an excellent question, and you're absolutely right. And I've lost many nights' sleep thinking about that, coming to this coalition. However, the difference is that we have made a commitment to work together. That means we have set the perimeters, we have our goals that we're going to work on, and I could probably sell tickets to the meetings as we go through, and we're going to have discussions. I just might do that, raise a little money. But that is the difference. There's a commitment to see this through. We've already had several meetings, and we started with where we agree. And believe it or not, it was a little bigger than this. But we're going to build on that until we get there. But it's the commitment to see this through and rock and roll and do whatever's necessary to get through it.
Go ahead.
Kevin Lavery with WKAR. So, Doug, you say you're not going to craft just another comprehensive plan. I mean, you're going to need something on paper. You need some sort of a takeaway to give to the citizens, to the taxpayers. And beyond that, and you've touched upon this a little bit, you know, what are each of your individual groups going to be specifically responsible for? There's got to be accountability, you know, among who's being assigned what.
Well, we're going to divide up into some work groups and work on those issues that I talked about, funding, for example, being one of them. But I can't tell you what exactly the process is going to be right now. That's what the purpose of our meeting. As a matter of fact, when we leave here today, we have the first meeting of the entire group, and we're going to talk about some of those things. So the only thing I can tell you is that one of the goals we have is to get as much of this work done by November as we can, but it doesn't stop there. That's just the first phase of the work that will continue thereafter. Yes.
Ken Whipple, can I ask you, Doug, it's a leadership type of question. This is a wonderful, diverse group. When we don't get the roads fixed, we all look at the governor because it's his responsibility or fault there. Who do we look to as a leader of this thing? It's either working beyond our wildest expectations or not.
Well, one of the things that we've seen from other states is that if you depend on one person, you're then dependent on that one person. And so one of the things that I hope that we achieve through putting this collaboration together is that it's a team effort and that the team holds itself accountable for the results. We've not worked out, Ken, who's, you know, an organizational chart. If that's what you're looking for, we're just not there yet. But I can tell you that I think that if we have made, one of the things that all of us up here would say in the past is we have been too dependent in Michigan on, for example, whoever was governor, whoever was in legislative leadership, what the education policy of the state has been. And we're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Again, that it's a collective effort, and that's what we're going to try to accomplish. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, Ron French, Bridge Magazine. Several of you mentioned models on other states that groups got together. Can you name a specific state you say this is where they're getting a group together and have accomplished something you're trying to accomplish?
I'm reluctant, Ron, to start naming states because I know what's going to happen is you're going to say, well, how does that compare to this? And everything's a little different. There are states out there that have obviously achieved great education results over the last dozen or so years. Massachusetts is one, Tennessee is another, Florida could be cited, and there are others. But I really want to avoid us getting into saying this is the state we're trying to replicate because we won't replicate it exactly. This will be its own unique Michigan model, but we're learning from the best practices that those states applied. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, and if you want to have other questions, you can ask them to individuals here afterwards. I'm going to ask the partners, though, if I could, to have you all come up, because I'd like to get a group shot here of you all before we all break off and go to our meeting. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for coming.